Sure, no
But I'll
problem.
list it. Oh,
There we go. There we go. So welcome everybody. Happy New Year, all of that. Good to see you. So the first thing to know about LinkedIn, the first thing to discover is that their goals are not necessarily our goals. So it's really good to think about your goals for using LinkedIn. So the goals that LinkedIn has, that's what the algorithm is there to drive you to do. LinkedIn wants you to stay on the platform, for example. You want your audience probably to meet you on your website or go look at your blog posts or read something that you've written, right? So it's important to sort of keep in mind that your goals are not necessarily LinkedIn goals and to think carefully about what your goals are. So I always start by saying, look, LinkedIn is a networking platform. It's best used, I think, as a networking platform, not as a billboard for your services, not a place to just constantly be selling to people or anything like that. You know, there's a lot of controversy or a lot of talk about how LinkedIn is becoming Facebook and everybody is posting selfies and everybody is posting pictures of them with their kids and their dogs and all of that. And I don't have a judgment call on whether you should do that or not. It really does depend on what your goals are. If that's what your audience likes, then, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. My personal biggest goal is starting conversations. So what that means is I want comments on my posts. I don't care about how many people look at my posts. I don't care that much about how big my audience is. I'm interested in starting conversations and making people think and making them tell me what they think in the comments. So that's kind of my goal. So from there, you know, it makes sense for me to spend about 80% of my time on LinkedIn building awareness and creating posts that I think will build engagement with my stuff and start conversations, like I said. And then I also want people to know that by the way, I'm running a business and you can, you know, pay me to create services for you. And so I do, of course, talk about my sales process. I do talk about what I'm selling. So about 20% of what I post is promotional. And I don't think we need to shy away from talking about sales. I could talk about my sales more. For sure, because I still have people who I've known for a very long time who say, you know, I don't think I could describe what you do. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a problem. You should be able to know, you should know what I do and be able to talk about it if you've known me for a while, if you've been in my universe. So once you kind of determine what your goals are for LinkedIn, that can lead you to thinking about your metrics. So I track these four, I really track the top four on this list weekly. So I track the number of followers and connections I have. I'm trying to build my audience. I make a point of trying to connect with 20 new people on LinkedIn every day. I think the limit is 100 per week. So if I do 25 days a week, then I'm hitting that limit.
I have a question.
Yes, please. Yeah.
I have this, I think the number of invites you're allowed to send per week is something that might increase as your network increases.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I feel like in the past, it took me less invites to get blocked from sending more.
Yes.
I think it happened. I feel like now I'm like, well, I'm sending like definitely more than 100. I think I'm not sure.
That's a good question. Yeah, I should look into this. You know, I think that the standard is 100, but you might be right that the bigger your audience gets, the more you get, or maybe even
like
less.
Maybe that used to me sending so many invites.
Yeah, that's very possible. I also think there's a difference whether you have Sales Navigator or not. So that might change the limit as well. So if you're doing the trial of Sales Navigator, for example, that might change.
The Sales Navigator?
have a trial?
Oh, yeah, LinkedIn Premium is the same as the Sales Navigator system. Oh, okay. Yeah, so LinkedIn Premium, I think there might be different rules if you're paying for it. Yeah, that's a good point. I should look into that. That's a good question. The other thing I track are my profile views, and in a second I'll show you just where to find those on your own profile. And I track search appearances. I track the number of comments on my posts. Reactions like the likes and the, you know, the little laughy face humor thing, whatever those reactions are there, the celebration, clapping, those things are really what I think of as vanity metrics. Those are the metrics that LinkedIn wants to show you so that you'll say, ooh, my audience likes me, I better stay on LinkedIn, right? Those are the things that LinkedIn really wants you to be excited about and get that dopamine hit and remember to go back to LinkedIn. But they don't usually track very well with most of our goals on LinkedIn, unless your goal is to have, 100,000 likes or something like that, right? That might be a goal of yours. You could track that. But for the most part, if you're trying to, for example, start conversations, reactions to your posts don't matter very much, right? The comments are what really matters. And whether
You mean like matters in terms of exposure?
yeah, and just in terms of like if you're trying to figure out whether you're getting closer to your goal, right? If your goal is to start conversations, you want to see your comment numbers go up. You're not necessarily your reactions.
I was here, I have a thought, and I wonder what you think about that.
Okay.
I think that when someone interacts with my post, now they've made some kind of like, in their mind, they made some action that now kind of connects them to me. And so, because I've noticed that for me, at least, the leads that I'm getting out of my posts, it's people that I already know them. Maybe I met them like virtually. And now, so here's like a thing that I've noticed like happening. I will talk to a person in like some context. We will make like a good connection, but like nothing will come of it. Time will pass. Now they have seen some posts of mine. They have engaged with them, like even if it's just like liking. And then after like maybe 3 times even, they'll reach out to me and like, actually, I have a project idea.
Sure.
So for me, when I'm thinking of those reactions, sometimes I feel like it might serve that purpose. I wonder what you're thinking about this.
Yeah, it might. I just think it's pretty hard to connect reactions to what you're talking about, right? It's hard to say, okay, oh, this post got 20 reactions, so that means I'm going to get 3 people reaching out to me in DMs. I don't think there's that kind of correlation that's very obvious to find. So that's why I feel like reactions can be a little bit distracting if you're tracking them really carefully, just in terms of like the number. Yeah, who's reacting? That might be important, right? That could be a thing to track. It's just that, I'm thinking more in terms of like, what are the easiest things to keep track of that might help you understand how you're doing on LinkedIn. I don't think reactions help you understand how you're doing very concrete terms anyway. It's nice. One thing I think about reactions is like, it tells you what your audience is into, right? If you get a lot of reactions to a post, you could say, this topic is a hot topic for me. Let me keep talking about that. That's one good place to look. But also, again, the comments can also tell you that. Oh, I got a lot of comments on this post, so this one starts conversations. This one is a good one. So that's why I kind of devalue reactions myself. Not a bad thing to look at. I just tend to think of it as a vanity metric. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you my profile. Oh, the other thing to know about metrics. LinkedIn updates the metrics on your dashboard, which I'll show you in a second, once a week. They happen to update on the day of the week you joined LinkedIn. There's no reason that you need to know what day of the week that was. But if you are checking these metrics on the same day every week, you're sure to get new numbers. So I check mine on Mondays and update my spreadsheet that I keep. So that's just something to keep in mind. You should look at them once a week on the same day every week. Okay, so pulling up my profile. Okay, so follower numbers is easy to find right here. To see your real connection number, so it says 500 plus connections, you need to actually go to your network. If you go to your network, it'll show you the connections, your exact connection number right there. I like to keep track of the follower numbers. I don't keep track so much of connections anymore, just because I have creator mode turned on, so followers is my default. And that's really what I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow my followers. So I pay more attention to that number than number of connections, but good to watch both. And to the difference between followers and connections. So followers can see your stuff, but you don't see theirs in your feed. Connections, it's a two-way street. So if I'm connected with somebody, they see my stuff and I see theirs. So what that means is when I'm connecting with people, I'm always hitting the connection button, even if their default is follow because they have creator mode turned on. I want to connect with them because I want them to see my posts. Again, I'm trying to start conversations.
Oh,
So I don't care so much about following people. Yeah.
could you
Rachel.
just repeat that? I have to double check that.
Yep, it's a little confusing. Yeah. So with followers, when someone follows me, they see my content, but I don't see theirs. So it's a one-way street.
Right.
Connections means we can see each other's posts. So if I connect with somebody, they're going to start seeing my content.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. So when I am reaching out, I'm connecting with people. Regardless of whether their default is following. To connect with somebody, it's like a matter of 2 more clicks than just following them.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend, because you want them to see your content. And then the dashboard is here. So the other things that I track, the profile views is one thing I'm looking for. And then the search appearance number is the other thing that I'm tracking.
Yeah.
So those 2 are the things that I'm tracking every week, along with my follower number. Now, post impressions is a little bit of an interesting one. So again, these are weekly numbers. So if you're posting more than once a week, this number is actually an aggregate. Maybe it posts the highest number of post impressions, like the post that had the most number of impressions, or maybe it averages them out. I forget how that works. But I don't watch this number just because of that. It's a little bit, hard to digest. It's hard to know what this post impression number means for how I'm doing. But what is nice is that you can click on this and you can sort of see trends. So you can see how you did for the past 7 days. You could change it to the month, past 2 weeks. You could change it to the past year and see how your impressions have grown. So that's kind of a nice thing to be able to watch trends. So that's a good thing to watch. But like I said, I don't really keep track too much of my post impressions. Again, that's like the reaction numbers. It's a bit of a vanity metric. So I care most about, are people looking at my profile? Are they finding me in the search appearances? And then are they connecting with me or following me?
Got it. Okay.
Cool. Okay. So now it's a good point. If you want me to look at your LinkedIn profile, just pop it into the comments. I'm going to stop sharing for a second.
Can I go first? Just because I have to
Oh, that's
leave
right. You need to leave
quarter
it
to.
at 11:30 there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go first.
Yeah, I do. But I also just message other person that I'm going to be like
Okay.
15 minutes late just to make sure that I'm
No
here.
worries. Yeah, just go ahead and pop your URLs into the chat and I'll go through them.
Doing it. I'm super excited and also nervous. Oh my God. What is Emily gonna say about it?
Well, I know that you have very impressive numbers, so I wouldn't be nervous if I were you. I'm very impressed by your numbers. So
But maybe they would be better if it wouldn't suck so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement, right? I know that's why why we're here.
Oh.
Okay, so here's Ravit's profile. Okay, so first impressions. I like the cover. So Ravit is an AI ethics expert, as you can see here. This is a nice cover. It kind of gets you thinking about robots. It gets you thinking about AI, right? So that's good. It's colorful. I like it. And the best thing is to have a cover, not use the stupid LinkedIn gray default one, because I wouldn't spend a lot of time worrying about the cover. One thing you could do though is once if you have a company brand name and a website and all of that, you may want to incorporate that into the cover.
Oh, as text, just like as text on the cover?
Yep.
So interesting. Like where would I put it in the image?
Yes. So this is a great question. So the other thing to keep in mind is you want to look at your profile on mobile. I think something like 67% of LinkedIn users look at LinkedIn on the mobile app. So you want to make sure that it looks good also on the mobile app. They recently changed it. So now I believe the photo shows up in the middle on mobile. So that's something to keep in mind. So I usually recommend putting the text somewhere on the right side, like the right third of the photo. So you could put the name of your business, you could put your website. If you have like a tagline, it's not a bad thing to add there, just because now everybody knows immediately, right? My eye looks just at the visuals and I can know that what you do. I don't even have to look at your headline.
Mm.
You know, and you know, the people are often just jumping around profile to profile, so you want to make it as easy as possible for them to see
So I
what
would just like, so definitely I want to add my website. I want like, I want traffic from my website. So I would just like,
Mhm.
it wouldn't like, I guess I'll have to figure out the visual. So it wouldn't like be like, here's like a text for you.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. Did you use Canva to come up with your cover? How'd you get your cover?
No, I just downloaded this from an image bank.
Okay. Yeah, so Canva is a really easy way to do it. You could pop that image into Canva and then play around with the titles and the text a little bit.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, with yours, you may want something like, I don't know, maybe white text or something might jump out. But I worry about these little white pieces there, or something.
Well, I can replace the image also.
Yes, right. So I would play around with the cover for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation for you. I like the photo. I think it works. It looks very professional. That's fine. So you say AI ethics expert. So the headlines you get, I believe, 620 characters for your headline. So you've got some more real estate if you wanted to make use of it. I really like having some kind of personal tagline that people can react to, or come up with something that, you know, gives people a little clue about what you think about AI ethics, you know, right away. So they're like, ooh, that's intriguing. And then they might like start looking further down the profile page. As it is, they might say AI ethics expert. I wonder what that is. And that might be as far as they go, once they get to the headline. You could also talk about, you could say you're a consultant for AI, because somebody might be looking for a consultant in this area, right? So it's good to know immediately what you do there. And then I know that you just turned on creator mode. And so that means you get 5 hashtags. And I would add some hashtags in there. I would add some more hashtags.
That is an intention of mine. Like
yeah.
I was gonna do it, but then like something technically annoying happened and I
Sure.
Yeah,
I understand. These are the kinds of things that stop us from finishing the profile, but that's why we're here, and that's good. The thing to know about having creator mode turned on is that when you have your hashtags, you want to include one of those hashtags in every post that you write.
Got it. Okay.
So that's one thing that helps. When they're talking about the benefits of having creator mode turned on, that's one of the things that's important for helping the algorithm help you build your audience and all of that. So you want to include one of your hashtags in every post. The other thing that's good to do when you have creator mode turned on is feature a post once a week. So if I have a post that does extraordinarily well, I get a lot of comments or I get a lot of impressions on it, I'll add it to my featured section once a week. And that supposedly helps boost as well, when you have creator mode turned on.
a question about that. So my knee-jerk reaction to like putting things into featured is like things that I want to like push.
Right.
They're not necessarily going to be like my highest performing posts.
Yep.
But I'm putting them there because I want like more attention on them. Like these are the 2 things that I currently want people to notice most. So I worry that if I like, but this like putting something on featured every week, does that matter like where in the featured list it is? Because like maybe I can put it like down the line.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure what the limit is, the number of featured things you can have. I tend to do sort of a revolving thing where I'll have like 6 or at the most, because I'm thinking how many featured pieces are people really going to look at? But yeah, I mean, if you have a post that you think really shows people what you do and is a really kind of a showcase post, a showcase post, I would certainly feature that. So I think your instincts are right about how you're using the featured. It's just that I've heard that the algorithm, when you have creator mode turned on, likes it when you do once a week, something new, something fresh. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That's something to keep in mind. Yeah, that's good. Let's see, about section. This also looks pretty good. I like the bullet points in the about section. Everybody skims everything online. So big blocks of text are not very helpful, especially in about section. People are looking like, how can she help me? Right? That's what they're looking for. So they draw their eye to this kind of stuff. You could include some of your services as a consultant here. That would be a good thing to add in. You've got information about what or who you are, but maybe add in a bit about what services you provide and what you do. This is great. This list of keywords, you can pull your hashtags from this, I would say, and use it that way. So you get, I think it's 2,600 characters for your about section. So you've got a lot more space you could add to this. And again, this is very valuable real estate. When somebody wants to learn about you, they're going to your LinkedIn profile. They're Googling you, the first thing they're going to is LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is a really powerful search engine for finding clients in particular. So I want to always make sure I'm giving my clients as much info as I can right on my main page. Experience looks good. You've got your descriptions filled out, which is important. I don't think you need to worry about adding more to that bit. Just having something there is important. This looks good. Education, volunteering, skills, recommendations. So the other thing I would recommend is trying to get some recommendations. So from any of your clients that you have currently, people working beside you in the lab, maybe, but having some recommendations is also another thing that, a potential client might be looking for. So that's another thing. And it's pretty easy on LinkedIn to ask for recommendations. It makes it very easy for people to fill them out. So not a bad idea to just send out a couple of those.
How do you ask to get recommendations?
That's a good question. Let me go to my profile. I recall it being pretty easy, but let's see.
Oh, so there's like a button to ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yep, I think plus, and then you can just put the person in there. Yeah, so that's why I say it's very easy to do. It doesn't take any work to really ask for that recommendation. And it's nice because it's easy for people to fill out as well. It lets them pick how they know you, and then they can write a little bit.
Could you send one to me just so that I'm wondering like how it looks like.
Yeah.
So you just you search for people.
So you can personalize it.
Yep. Well, not exactly, but you could choose the person. You can't.
So you can't put a note on there?
Yeah, you can. Yep, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, so you can. I can fill in the relationship here, and then I can fill in the position I'm in right now, and then you can add a note. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Good question.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions in particular, Ravit?
One of my dilemmas, I'm not exactly sure how to explain what I do, because I really, in a way, it's because it's forming in my mind, but still I need to figure out how to present it as it's forming.
Right.
So the reason I don't like my title, I don't like AI ethics expert.
Okay.
It doesn't really say what I do.
Right.
And like calling myself an expert is like, okay. But the reason I did it is because I'm not sure how to explain what I'm doing, because I am active in multiple organizations and in multiple industries.
Yes.
And I'm just not sure how to convey it in a succinct way.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm happy to talk with you more offline about, in particular, how to formulate it and everything. But I always recommend and tell people, LinkedIn is an experiment. It's a perfect place to play around with what resonates with people in this way. So you try talking about yourself as a consultant 1 week or for a couple of weeks and see if your profile views are going up, and then another couple of weeks play around with some other way of talking about yourself. What
do you think about, like, if I have a personal tagline, like here's a tagline that I've been toying with in my head.
Sure.
I'm also not sure what the tagline is, so it might not actually be a tagline, but I've been toying with the slogan, moving AI ethics from talk to action.
Yes.
And then I can put it like on the banner and also in my description.
Yes.
It's nice.
Even though it's like vague and doesn't say what my job is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
Very
okay
good.
because I think, I would add it to the headline, and your headline is going to have your personal job description or your personal title. So if it's not AI ethics expert, it's something else, AI consultant or whatever, and then follow it with the tagline. And I think that adds a lot of value to
Okay, but like,
the headline.
I don't know how to call my job. That's the problem because I have like 3 or 4.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to, like I said, I'm happy to talk with
Yeah,
you
we can talk
more
about it later.
offline about that, but that's
Yeah.
a very specific question. But that's what I would do. I like the tagline. I would add it. Just
Okay.
you can add it anytime. So yeah, that's great. Cool.
Okay.
Okay, let me look at Rachel's next.
Okay, yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I haven't worked on it in a while, so
Sure. No, that's why we're here.
and my about is really a mess.
Okay.
I'm gonna change the picture,
Okay. Your photo here or your cover photo?
the background.
Background.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay.
I have like, I'm just looking up for a photo, but I can
Sure.
substitute. Garment patterns is what I'm gonna substitute because
Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
My experience is pretty unique.
Mhm.
And the women's wear brand I co-founded, luxury, that's been, it's been in Bergdorf's couture department every single day since 1993.
Amazing.
And that's a department with only 18 designers, most of which are
Right.
internationally known.
Sure. Yeah.
There's only one other kind of under the radar company that's been there about as long.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
I've been,
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yes, I recommend changing up the cover. This is looking a little blurry on my end. So if it's you might want to go to Canva and play around a bit with covers. You could do the same thing I was recommending with Ravit, is adding your business name and your website and maybe a tagline to the cover somewhere on the left third or the right third of it is a good idea. I think your profile photo looks great. I think it sort of gives people an impression of who you are, and I like it. It's unique. It's not very buttoned up, and I think that's probably what you're trying to portray a little bit with your brand. Founder, sales, marketing, and solutions advisor, design women's wear omni-channel. Okay,
that's the wig part. That's what I just like threw on there.
Sure, yeah. It's a mouthful.
What I'm missing,
sure.
what I'm missing is I'm a total climate change environmentalist person.
Okay.
Like been building on that for the last 12 years.
Got it.
Ethics is the most important. So I had, it's like, I want to say, like, I only will work with, unless somebody's going to give me a bunch of money quickly to help them with X thing, but that's going to be productized sort of things more. I'll only work with, like ethical companies.
Yeah.
But not only that, is like, they have to be really providing a solution, not just more stuff. And I haven't figured out how to word that.
Yes. Okay. So I would say that those are things that you want in your about section, not necessarily in the headline. Okay. You could say something like climate conscious or something, something to indicate that piece is important to you in your headline. I think that's good. The other thing I'm noticing about your headline is, okay, so you're a sales, marketing, and solutions advisor for who? Who do you work with?
Yeah. So I'm trying to say for the designer women's wear omni-channel markets.
Gotcha.
But 2 months ago, it was just like I was using the word only innovative companies because I really want the changing businesses, right?
Okay.
And then I was freaking out because it was a tough fall with my licensing agreement, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, just instead of revenue growth strategist, call it sales, like make it more in your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but the main thing I did was strategy, and that's the main thing I do versus other people, strategy and execution.
Okay.
Really top level.
Right. So
So-
I would want that to be in the headline for sure. Strategist, advisor and strategist would be an easy fix. Yeah, it's
and should I mean, like, I see myself being a CEO again, being a president
Mhm.
again.
Mhm.
But you know, in a fractional way.
Mhm.
However, I feel like the sales, marketing and solutions is like the channel of which will get me there, right?
okay. Yeah,
But
I think that's right.
I'm not sure that it's coming across that way, because then I just come across as another sales consultant, and I'm so like, you know, I want to help you with your cash flow and managing your P&L.
Yep.
So
Yeah, again, I think these are issues to cover in the about section, right? That's
Okay.
where you have room to play around with these things. In the title, you want it just to be very clear what you do and who you work with, right?
Okay.
So that's why I would say add strategist somewhere into your headline.
Okay.
And maybe get a little clear. So omni-channel, that word is something that would go like shoof over my head if I'm looking at your headline. And so I would think a little bit about how you can talk to your ideal client in the title, so that it's like, oh, I need you, right? You want them thinking, oh, this is exactly the person that I need. So I mean, and it's possible that omni-channel means something very important in your field, right? And that there are people who would read this and say, oh yes, I want someone who does this particular work. So if that's true, then you can ignore my non-industry, you know, what I'm seeing from outside the industry. Yeah, so I would play around with the headline, just like I suggested with Ravit. Change it up, watch how your profile views are doing and your search appearances for a couple of weeks, see if it makes the numbers move at all, and then change it again.
And how much of your about would you put, like what I have in the about, that long story is like stream of consciousness, it's my old history. It's
Okay.
like the long bio.
Right.
So I know that I need to summarize that probably down to a paragraph and then put the current and
Yes.
future stuff.
Agreed. Yeah, that's right.
So is that, you agree, like one or two?
Yes.
I will put bullets. I will.
Yes. And I
Okay.
you talk about the Bergdorf stuff that you just mentioned. That should be right out front, because I think that sets you apart from other sales strategists and you know, advisors.
Yeah.
I would definitely bullet point the services
Okay.
that you're offering. And the other thing about the about section is it should be in first person. At least this is my view about it. You're telling your story to people on LinkedIn. It's different from your resume, right? So I would put this in first person. I am passionate about transforming the apparel industry, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I would make sure it's very clear what you're doing today, what you're doing now. And this is how you can help people. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you've got creator mode turned on. Also, I can see your hashtags here. That's great.
Yeah. How do I change them? I have trouble finding where I change that.
Sure. Yeah. Let me show you.
And how many can I have?
You can have 5.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the thing. Oh, I had trouble deleting also, I think.
Yep. That's very
I
possible.
want to add a question about the tags.
Right.
So I was just adding them as we were talking, and I realized, well, this is like the technical glitch that was annoying to me. I can't change the order. And so the last one that I'm adding are like the first ones that are showing. Do you know like a trick to sort that out, or I can just Google?
No, I think the only way to do it is to delete what you have and start with the ones that you want, like start over. But you change them by going to where you have creator mode turned on. Did you see that, Rachel?
Okay. Creator mode.
So here it's under the dashboard, it says resources and it says creator mode. You can see I have it turned on. Only I can see this, by the way. This is my profile. So creator mode, and then you can change the hashtags here. And it says you can add up to 5. It tells you right there. And then it tells you the various tools that you have available, which are other benefits of having creator mode turned on.
Great.
Okay.
And does it show up in that order?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, mindset, all the, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can
your mindset that you put mindset on there.
Yeah.
Is that new?
Is that new? No.
For you.
For me,
Right.
no. No, I haven't changed my hashtags in a long time. Own Your Expertise is an interview series I was doing really last year. So that's kind of a personal hashtag I created. And that's a good idea to create personal hashtags if people will be following those as well.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think yours is here.
And-
Nope, that's Ravi's.
Okay, my last question.
Yeah.
So the personal hashtag, does
Mm-hmm.
it, are you looking for something that you're creating and nobody else has? Or are you looking for something that's kind of a thing out there and you make it yours?
Yeah, it could be something that's yours that you've created. I wouldn't force it or anything like that. It's just that if you have something that, you know, you associate with yourself, that would be easy to add in.
Okay.
It's not a bad idea. Yep. Yeah, I think you have pretty good hashtags. You might want to change out innovate, just because I think innovate, it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, right? And when you say you want to work with innovative companies, you know, your instinct about changing that in your headline, I think is a right one, because I think innovative companies aren't necessarily companies that care about the environment, right? So just thinking more in terms of like what the hashtags might be that fit better with what your clients are looking for. That's just something to consider.
Thank you.
Yes. And then talked about the about section. Experience
Yeah.
looks good. If you
I have to fix this.
you could set up your company page that will give you the logo here. That will give you your logo rather than the LinkedIn default.
Well, yeah, I just don't have one yet.
Okay, that's fair. Yep.
I keep going back and forth on do I need to get a full-time job or do I need to keep
Gotcha.
doing?
Okay. Fair enough.
But I mean, I'll keep my consulting, but
Sure.
just in terms of time and money, like,
Sure.
so
Yes. Yes.
I know.
And I think that's right. When it makes sense for you, then you
okay,
add it in.
here's
Yes,
a
question. Yep.
question. Okay, I'm a mom, and the fact
Mhm.
that I'm a mom is very important to me.
Mhm.
It's a lot of where I've gotten so much of my learning from.
Mhm.
You know, each, like one kid at Brooklyn Tech, another one graduated Bronx Science.
Mhm.
And whereas a recruiter friend, Christy Heard of the CoLab, is like, Rachel, scrub all the mom stuff off of it.
Mhm.
And I just disagree with that. It's a huge part of who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I took my kids to work. I was back at work after 7 days.
Mhm.
Yes, I could
Mhm.
breastfeed them in my office because I owned
Right.
it. But
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine.
Your
I think
choice.
anything that sets you apart and differentiates you from other consultants and advisors and strategists is a good thing. So if you want to lean into that mom stuff, I say, sure, go right ahead and do that. Yeah. And again, it all depends on what your audience wants, you know, and
Yeah.
if you want to work with people who are also, you know, happy to watch your kids in your Zoom video or whatever, you know, then great. Yeah. Make that part of it. Make that part of your brand for sure.
I need more recommendations.
Yep, that's the other thing I would say. Yep. But this looks really good. You know, I would play around with titles. That's kind of the main thing. Work on your about section. And yeah, looks really good. Great. All right. Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm a little different. I am not an
Okay.
entrepreneur.
Okay.
I work for a company, and
Sure.
my background has mostly been in marketing and communications. And then
Okay.
I took a little bit of a pivot when I came to my current company, and I was like working with clients, and
Okay.
I changed away from that back in
Uh-huh.
August. It is not my thing.
Okay.
It's not what I want to focus on. I would
Got it.
love to one day get back to a communications role, but
Okay.
it's been so hard trying to show that experience and knowledge because it's been so long ago since I've done it. So
Mhm.
you're going to see kind of a mix here
Yeah.
where I'm still trying to figure out who I am and what I want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just kind of focusing more on the skills and the strengths that I have.
Cool. Okay, I like that. I like that idea. Is it something where you're open to finding new positions, or
I'm currently not looking
Okay.
for a new role.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not really focusing a lot on my posting and things like that.
Gotcha.
I'm big on networking and connecting people.
Yeah.
I love to help people who are job hunting and
Uh-huh.
connect them with somebody I know, or some way if I can help
Cool.
them, or even kind of what you've done.
Yeah.
I've certainly looked with sat down and looked at somebody's LinkedIn profile when they're job hunting and give them some
Yeah.
recommendations. I paid a
Cool.
LinkedIn coach several years ago
Uh-huh.
to work to give give me some understanding of how my LinkedIn
Right.
profile should be set up. So some of that is still there from her recommendations. And that was
Got it.
back in 19, I think, 18 or 19.
Okay,
So-
awesome. So one thing I would say, just as a first impression, I like the cover. I think it's great. And given that you're not, your goals aren't necessarily finding a job or, promoting your business or anything like that, I think it's fine to have a cover that's more, maybe it's personal. Is this like a scene that a photo
Yeah,
you took, or
I enjoy
something you
photography
like?
and travel. So
Cool,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, so I think that's great as a cover for you. I think that works. I really like this professional photo of you. That's awesome. So one thing I would say about the title is I would add some kind of title. And it
Okay.
doesn't have to be the title that whatever your business, your company calls you. It could be more
Okay.
of a personal title, like communication specialist, or whatever it is that you feel like you want people to know
Okay.
you as, right? LinkedIn, I think we should all be thinking of LinkedIn as our personal brand. It's the space for our personal brand. So
Right.
when you're networking with people, how would you describe yourself? Like what would you call yourself? That's what I would want to see in that title.
Yep.
I like this. I think it's a bit of a mouthful. It might, you might want to
Yeah.
take out a little bit of the jargon,
Okay.
that kind of a thing, make it a little more accessible to other people, just because again, you're not looking necessarily to meet people only in your industry or anything like that. You're just kind of, this is like your personal brand there. So you may be meeting all kinds of people is what I'm thinking. I like the idea of you being a connector. I would certainly highlight that, and that kind of a thing. So that's great. And if you are interested in doing any kind of coaching, more of that coaching that you've done kind of on the side, not a bad thing to add as well
Okay.
to the title.
Okay.
Let's see, your about section. I like this, starting out with a story. That's great. Yeah, as an example of your tenacity and commitment, that's cool. Then you go into your career history. I like that. Okay. Career experience. Cool. Yeah. I think this looks pretty good at first glance. It's very personal. It's in first person. That's great. You're telling your story. It's giving people something to connect with, like motorcycling, right? That
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
that was my intent, was to give something
Yeah.
to connect with.
Yeah, I think that's great, right? Again, I'm thinking of this as a networking platform. This is a story you might tell at a networking event, right? You meet someone for the
Right.
first time and you're like, oh yeah, this is what happened. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think that looks really good. And you've got your contact info. That's another good thing to add for you too, Rachel, if you want to add contact info to your about section. Makes it easy for people to connect with you as soon as they're interested. Got your experience filled out well. There we go. Yep. Looks good. And you could add some recommendations. It looks like, oh, you've got a couple here. Great. Oh, you've got 19. Oh, that's a lot. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm actually working on trying to get some more.
Good. Yeah,
some
I was
more
just gonna
recent
say.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
some of these are
recent ones
old.
are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I don't know what the limit is for the number that you can have there, but I would sort of treat it a bit like you would revamp your resume, for example, right?
Okay.
Like, okay, the jobs I had when I was in high school fall off the resume at a certain point.
Right.
And
right.
so maybe if you have some really old recommendations, you might want to knock those down. But it doesn't hurt to have them there, I don't think. But yeah, finding some more recent ones is a good plan. Good plan. Yeah, this looks really good based on, what I know of your goals and what you're looking to do. Do you have specific questions?
I don't know what you guys have talked a little bit about the creator mode.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is or what it's for. I'm sorry. I know you
Yeah.
showed it, but it wasn't really
No,
resonating with me.
that's fair. Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to ask you about that. So creator mode is really good if you really want to grow a big audience on LinkedIn. That's
Okay.
kind of the main reason to do it. I don't see a good reason for you to turn creator mode on unless you want to go really hard on thought leadership. You're ready to sort of plant your flag and put yourself out there in a different way.
Okay.
Then it might make sense to turn on creator mode. It grows your audience faster because people are going to be following you rather than connecting with you. So, it used to be, at least, that with LinkedIn, you needed to have the person's email address, or you had to explain how you know the person to connect with them on LinkedIn. That's pretty much gone. But that follower button makes all of that a lot easier. So a lot of, more people will be following you if you had that turned on. That's the idea anyway. And then, like I was showing with my profile, you have access to these other features, like you could create a newsletter, these kinds of things. And then the hashtag. thing. So again,
Yep.
it's designed for people who want to build audiences quickly and
Okay.
want people following them.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do that. Like I said, I think it's good for what you have set up.
And so with my background picture there, I know it's not business related at all, but
Yeah.
you feel that it's okay since I am where I am and I'm doing what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. You may want to add a little explanation in your about section about the
Oh,
cover.
that's a good idea.
That's not a bad
Oh,
idea.
that's a really good idea. Okay.
Yeah, another point of connection for people. They say, oh, I wonder what that mountain is, or that's a beautiful photo. I wonder where that is, the things people would naturally ask looking at
Yeah.
the cover.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think you have space to do that with what you have here. So, yep.
Okay.
Great. Looks really good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Naren Kush, you're here. Welcome. I know you joined late. If you want to share your LinkedIn profile, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, great. There we go. Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, there we are. Okay, great. So here's one with some text in the cover. We haven't seen one like this yet. So this is a good example of how you could add the text in the cover. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so my profile is really as basic as it can be right now,
Okay.
because LinkedIn I've mostly used to communicate with my clients, reach
Uh-huh.
out directly to clients.
Uh-huh.
So find the right people for me, connect with them with a very personalized message, and then create some form of communication through their
Right.
comments, through messages, and
Right.
then eventually see how things work out. So
Uh-huh.
I've not really started putting on content, but since now I'm also training a lot of writers.
Okay.
I've taken a lot of physical workshops, not
Uh-huh.
online yet,
Okay.
in my city and in nearby cities. So now I'm planning to switch to the creator mode. I've not turned that on yet, and
Okay.
then plan a calendar. I'm working on a
Gotcha.
website and everything. So this is very base level right now. So if I could
Sure.
get some insights, that'd be amazing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I like the cover. You want to look at it on mobile to see how it looks. I mentioned, I don't know if you were here when I said it, but I think like 68% of LinkedIn users look at it on the mobile app.
Correct.
So you want to make sure how this looks. I believe the photo will be more centered when you look at it on
Right.
mobile.
It is. It's
yes.
visible, but yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm glad
I
you
checked
looked at
on
it.
the phone. It's
Yeah.
visible.
Okay, great. Yes, so just something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Let's see, ghostwriter, lawyer, teacher, contact to bring your ideas on paper in the hands of your target readers. Okay, yeah, I think this headline makes sense. You've got kind of your personal tagline here. You've got your sort of 3 titles. I think that looks good. I suppose one question I might have is how ghostwriter, lawyer, and teacher come together for you and the kinds of
Correct.
services you offer. So you might consider.
I tried to explain that in the about section, I
Okay,
think,
great.
but I'm not sure if I was successful there.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look there. You might also think about how you might explain it in the headline itself, but that might be a bit complicated to do, of course, but something you might want to play around with. You may want to consider turning on creator mode because you, I think, want to be more of a thought leader in doing what you're doing. You're thinking about starting to post more and that kind of thing. So turning on creator mode might be a good plan for you. With that, as we were talking, you get 5 hashtags. So you want to come up with some hashtags and then make sure you use at least one of those hashtags in every post that you write. And the other thing about having creator mode turned on is that you want to feature a post once a week.
Okay.
And to do that, you just go to the 3 dots on the top of the post, and there'll be a drop down there, and you can choose feature.
I think I am good in the sense that I have done this thing for a lot of thought leaders who are my clients. So I've managed their LinkedIn, so I have handled accounts that work on creator mode.
Cool.
So I think I might manage, but again, since it's my profile, I am a bit confused.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let me look at this about section. Okay. Yes. So you have a lot of space in your about sections. You get 2,600 characters. So I would definitely add to this. Yeah. Okay. So I've been working as ghostwriter for 9 years, along with finishing law school, legal education, lawyer's laws can be managed in terms of extensive research skills, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay. Yes, this is a good start. So I could see you working a lot with legal people in the legal area industry. So if that's
Mhm.
something you're interested in doing, I would put that right out there. Say, I'm a
All right.
ghostwriter for legal people in the legal field or something like that.
Got it.
Talk about that. And then you definitely want to add your services into your about section. And I would do that with bullet points. If you
Understood.
can. Yeah. And so make it really readable, make sure that people can skim it. People are always skimming about sections. They're never going to read a
Got it.
big block of text, right? So I would work on breaking some things up and that kind of thing, and definitely adding to this. The other thing I mentioned is add your contact info into your about section. People know exactly how to email.
Absolutely.
We think, oh, well, our contact info is here, but that's an extra step that someone might not want to take, is clicking on that.
Correct.
So just make it,
That makes
as
sense.
clear as possible. You might want to update your photo just because there's other people in your photo.
Understood.
Just make it you facing the camera, that kind of a thing. I don't know, makes it somehow
Got
more personal or more professional, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So let's see what else. You definitely want to get some recommendations as well.
I will.
Yeah, I think that could help you a lot, especially since you've been working with some clients. You should be able to get some recommendations from folks pretty
Absolutely.
easily. I showed how to do that a little earlier, but it's very easy. You probably know how to do that as well, since you've been working.
I'm aware. I'll get that done.
Great. Yeah. Any specific questions you have about what you?
The thing about hashtags that you talked about.
Oh, yeah.
So when I turn on creator mode, so I'm assuming I'll use one unique hashtag that is personal to my posts.
That is
And
not a bad idea. Yeah, if you have one that jumps out at you that's being unique to you, it's a good
Mhm.
idea to use a hashtag like that. But you should also
Alright.
use writer, the things that you talk about, the things that you'll be talking
Correct.
about in your content. Yep.
All right. So should I start with more general posts about me? Should I focus more on me, or should I focus more on writing, ghostwriting services? Since I do know a lot about them, I have been in the field. So
Mhm.
should I directly start with the things I talk about in my own workshops, or should I focus on myself first, introducing myself to the community, something like that?
I think a mix is a great way to start.
Alright.
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself. You want to keep in mind that not everyone in your network sees every post you create. So not a bad idea to introduce yourself in a couple different ways, in a couple different posts. And
Understood.
also talking about the skills that you have, right? And sharing what you know about ghostwriting. Yeah, there's all kinds of things to do. I think I shared earlier that I like to do 80% of my posts are about awareness and engagement, and 20% are promotional. So talking about what I sell. So I think that that's a good mix, but included in awareness is introducing yourself, that kind of thing.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. This was so fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I just want to go real quick back to, back to my last couple of slides. Very quickly, just to give you one sense of the kinds of services I offer, just in case you're curious. So I do a LinkedIn roadmap for $500, which is an audit of your LinkedIn page. Basically what we did today, only expanded. And I'll give you sort of a report with my recommendations. There's also a 30-minute call, so you can ask me any questions you have about the report or about anything involved, anything about LinkedIn that you have questions about. I also work with clients on a 3-month basis where we do the LinkedIn roadmap and we create content for people on a monthly basis. So we create 12 posts per month for our clients. We also have a content strategy session once a month to talk through different ideas and make sure the strategy lines up with the content we're creating. And then I have an ongoing service, which is bigger, and it also includes a ghost blogging. So we write blogs for some of our clients in that way. So these are the services I offer, and I really appreciate you all being here and coming to share your LinkedIn profiles with me. I love this. This is one of my favorite things to do every month. So really glad that you all showed up, and happy to see you this year. Looking forward to seeing what you do with LinkedIn. So I'll stop sharing now. And yeah, any final questions, final thoughts here? Great. So I do this once a
Great.
month on the first Thursday of the month. So if you ever want to come back, if you want to make some changes and have me check them out, that's always an easy way to do it. I'm also happy if you just want to shoot me an email. After this, I will share the recording with everybody. I'll also share my LinkedIn guide, which has some more tips and tricks and things like that. A lot of what we've talked about. And yeah, I'm always a resource, always happy to answer questions. So feel free to reach out. It doesn't bother me at all. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Rachel, you have a question?
No,
okay.
just saying thank you.
Okay. Gotcha.
right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day.